A big thing that they touched on was as they go forward in creating their worship experience, they spent a lot of money on lights and screens that move and fog machines. So they really had to remind themselves about substance over flash. So they found themselves in a trap of, we bought these big LED lights and we bought all of the expensive fog machines, so let's build something that looks amazing and then create our worship experience around that. And they said that what they found is that only gave them about 75% of an idea, and then it nothing flowed correctly, and it didn't have the meaning. So now they said, don't focus on the production. So what they do is they set a goal. They want to decide what they want people to feel, how they want it to impact them, and then they apply the flash to set the tone and the mood to create that.
Yeah.
This is more referring to when they build a worship team, but it also applies to volunteers. They have a great thing that they say. They say, this isn't a gig, it's a church. So anybody stepping up there trying to play on the worship team or volunteer, they're just reminding them, this isn't about you, this is a church. So they try to, just like we do, pour into them and make sure that their heartbeat is the same as the church, which is incredibly important. This is...
And can I say something?
Yeah.
While you're doing this? We've experienced that here in our 5-year startup history, where in 2016 we had 100% turnover of our band and our tech because they treated our church like a gig and not about worshiping Jesus. And because we were such a young church, people were freaking out. They're like, what's going on? But now, 2 years later, with maturity and growth in faith, we realized that was a healthy, good thing. We need to get prima donnas out of here because our stage is not a platform for that musician or that techie. It's a platform for Jesus, period. So I'm just saying that because I know some lifers will see that we've experienced that firsthand. And so now we're very careful about the hearts of our artists and tech. It's not a gig. This is a church. A gig is expanding my platform or expanding my paycheck. The Church of Jesus Christ, as Ephesians 4, it's a privilege to serve. It's a privilege to be a volunteer. We don't need to buy volunteers. That's so antithetical to the gospel.
And this was a direct quote from their the director of, I guess I'll just be the Flash, the director of the Flash. He said,
Director Flash?
Director Flash. He said, I just want it to be powerful. So I mentioned this last night too, how he said he felt like if something exploded this week, next week it needs to explode with lasers, and it always has to top what happened. And it was just burning them out. It was burning money, and the message wasn't getting through to people. And he said, the minute I stepped back and realized I just want it to be powerful, he felt just the weight fall off of his shoulders. And so it wasn't about creating something that people go, oh my gosh, how did they do that? It's about doing something that makes them think, yeah, I need to be doing that in my life. Another thing that they mentioned, which is actually something that we have experienced at Life Church, is to follow the people trends. So just like what happened with Star Wars, you need to follow those trends. It leads to larger spikes in attendance, which creates more connections in the church. The more people we can get through this door, the more likely people are to stick and stay, and that is the goal. And then when people are connected, which is something we are also already doing, but then they push them towards life groups and baptisms and getting them into the church and really digging deep into them. Moving into the second breakout, this is more about the volunteers and creating everything. So they are very much believe in clear stepping stones to give people. So when a volunteer comes in, they don't just toss them to the front lines and say, go for it. They pair them with people, and they give them more and more responsibility and build them up to being able to lead seating or lead worship. Regarding worship, how they do that is they'll give somebody a bridge to sing. So you take the bridge rather than, this is the song you're singing this weekend, get up there and do it. And that way it shows unity within the church, and it allows us to invest in people. And with investment, that's a big word that they use a lot, but they want us to invest up and down. So what that means is we need to not only support the lead pastor and the people in charge of us, but we need to support the volunteers and the people who are helping us. We need to invest up and down to make sure that the whole system is oiled and functioning properly. Make sure that everybody is on the same heartbeat, because the minute that we don't invest in others is the minute they stop investing in us. Where is it? Another big word they use is encouragement. They encourage each other through the failures. They encourage each other through everything. They said that they are very loose with positive reinforcement. So anything that anybody does great, say something to them. It makes them feel like what they are doing is impactful, which we often take things for granted, where every part of the process of making the service happen is an act of worship. This is an act of worship, everything that we do. And they said it is here we are. So failure equals growth. And so they don't welcome failure, but they're not afraid of it. They try to prevent it, but if it happens, they said, you can't expect any leader to be perfect. And so failure will happen, but they will speak on it and in a positive way figure out how to turn that failure into growth and to prevent that failure from happening again. Additionally, they said that in their experience, they found that they really isolate themselves. So this is something that Chris said. He said if something's going on with the worship team or they needed something fixed, he would often find himself going, oh no, I got it, I'll just do it. And all of a sudden he was isolating himself from the team by doing everything himself. So they said that we need to grow as a team and not just individual people doing individual pieces of the puzzle. Also, to them, playback is very important. Speaking over the entire service and how everything went. They even will record it and watch it together to discuss positives, negatives, things that maybe we should shift the microphone a few feet to the left. They record it and they watch all of it just to figure out the benefits and everything of that. This is a big one. When getting volunteers, you need to remember to see the love in people. Because they said this is a big thing. People get frustrated, leaders get frustrated, something goes wrong, and we're human, and we get angry, and we need to remember to see the love in people, to make sure that our hearts are in the right place, their hearts are in the right place, and not let issues, build up and become huge. And as far as us as volunteers and greeters, seaters, and leading worship and speaking on stage, having an open relationship with Jesus flows out, and that is what invites people who come through our doors to worship along with us. And a big problem that they felt at Elevation is the platform, and they've talked about the platform a lot. Purpose over position. So they have this thing that they told us: don't chase the platform. Focus on the people. So if we are making it our goal to direct people to God, then our platform doesn't matter. They could take it away, and as long as we are focused on the right thing, we're fine. And that is, it goes back to, this isn't a gig, it's a church. So that, I circled that. That was a really big one. And as far as, leading worship, this was a lot. They said it's easy to get up on stage and sing a song. It's easy to follow a script and say the things. It's easy to do that. What we need to do is seek revelation from God while we're doing that. Because those honest emotions and things that we experience are what people see. It's what impacts people. They said to pay attention to problems, because within the problems they hold the answer. I'm not entirely sure what that means. I guess that's something that we'll have to experience a little more.
Say that again.
They said pay attention to the problems, because those problems usually hold the answer. Trying to see if there's anything else that I missed. I'm just about finishing up here. Oh, when picking songs for the weekend, what the service is, what journey do we want people to go on? And that's a big word, that journey, because they talk about the experience from the moment people drive into the parking lot. They're welcomed, they're brought in. What are they supposed to be experiencing at each moment? And so they said something that I thought was great. They said, do not dig the pastor into a pit. If we're talking about a serious subject, don't go out there and sing a song that is upbeat and gonna make everybody laugh and smile, and then have the pastor have to change the mood immediately. And the exact opposite. Don't play a super sad song if we're gonna run out there and talk about something exciting, going all in. We need to set the atmosphere so that the pastor can come out and have them in the right mindset in the right moments.